Okay, so we've been out here for about an hour, and we've been asking a lot of people on the street if they could talk to us about this. Most of them said no. About 75% said no, probably associated with the stigma. You have a few minutes to talk about pot?
I'd love to, but...
All right.
Fine if it's yes or no.
I'm actually in a pretty good hurry.
Everyone's in a hurry.
I know.
Justice, let me see your sign. Alright.
For a good cause. Do you think marijuana should be legal?
Yes.
Why is that?
I feel like that it incarcerates a lot of people, and a lot of people get a lot of jail time. A lot of people get affected, but all in all, it is a I believe it's a recreational drug, so I do not think it should be.
Okay. So if recreational use was legal, do you think it would impact your life?
I do not think it would impact my life directly. The only main concern I have would be driving under the influence.
Okay. Just 1 minute. It's for a good cause. She took a picture. So, do you think marijuana should be legal?
I think it should be legal, yeah.
Why is that?
Because I don't see, if it's like regulated in the way that tobacco and alcohol, yeah, it can be, because I don't really see the difference. They both alter your brain chemicals and kind of have the same effect and can be seen as a depressant, so why legalize the two and not the other?
Okay, so if recreational use was legalized, do you think it would affect your life?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, and could you describe someone who uses marijuana in a couple words?
The people I know are pretty normal. They're in school, they have jobs, they can still balance life. I mean, there are people that I think it does affect them, but I think that usually correlates with like other issues they have.
Okay, thank you. Nobody's talking to us still. Apparently there's some stigma around this question. So, do you think marijuana should be legal?
Yes.
All right, why is that?
Because alcohol is legal and marijuana, no one has gotten drunk or stoned and beat up their wife. Whereas they got drunk and beat up their wife or whatever.
So, if recreational use was legal, do you think it would impact your life?
Yes.
All right. Could you describe someone who uses pot in a couple of words?
Me.
All right.
The truth is, to understand why marijuana is illegal, you have to go back to the 70s. Before that, marijuana had been used for centuries for both medical and recreational purposes. But once Nixon got into office, that all changed.
It may have been known as the decade of free love, but Richard Nixon definitely didn't see it that way. After declaring the war on drugs, Nixon encouraged law enforcement to crack down on any drug use or possession. 1971 saw major growth of the Drug Enforcement Agency and the creation of mandatory minimum sentencing for drug possession.
The thing was, though, marijuana wasn't really a focus of those laws until later. Marijuana was seen as harmless and decriminalizing in most states. Jimmy Carter even ran for president on a platform of the decriminalization of pot.
But by the end of the 70s, parents were concerned about the high drug usage associated with the decade of free love, so public backlash ended up with marijuana being highly criminalized along with most other drugs.
The drug hysteria of the 80s and 90s only heightened that criminalization, and it ended up causing thousands of Americans with only minor drug offenses to get ridiculous sentences, sometimes as high as lifetime mandatory sentences without parole.
Just for smoking a joint. How ridiculous.
What's even more ridiculous is that marijuana is listed as a Schedule I drug on the same level as heroin, LSD, and ecstasy because it is considered to have a high potential for abuse. And yet there are no instances in American history of pot addiction. Even cocaine is listed as a Schedule II drug, and if that seems dumb, it's because it is.
Do you think marijuana should be legal?
I definitely think it should be legalized.
Why is that?
Well, because most people use it for like to treat like anxiety or depression or like in like a recreational sense, and like someone smoking marijuana doesn't directly affect someone else's life, or like because it doesn't.
That was going to be my next question: is if recreational use was legal, would it affect your life?
Well, it would affect mine because like I could self-medicate by like anxiety and like minor depression.
Okay.
But like the average person.
Yeah. So, could you describe someone who uses pot in a few words?
Good vibes.
All right. Do you think marijuana should be legal?
Yes, I do.
Why is that?
Because it just makes sense. There's plenty of other drugs that are legal, like tobacco and like alcohol, that are like way more unhealthy when no one's overdosed on marijuana before ever. So.
Come talk about pot with me for 1 minute. Do you think that marijuana should be legal?
Yes, yeah.
Why is that?
It's got plenty of health benefits. No deaths are ever caused by it. It's not dangerous. And it's fun.
Okay, so do you think that marijuana should be legalized?
Absolutely, yes.
Why?
Well, I think I would like to hear why marijuana should be made illegal first. And, there should be a very good reason why, for possession of under an ounce, you should put somebody in jail for a year and fine them $1,000. And I don't feel that we've really heard a good explanation as to why marijuana should be illegal. Personally, I have IBS, which is a condition that you have to go to the bathroom a lot, and marijuana is the only thing that works for me. And it's really scary that people don't even have to hear your story in order to judge you and decide that marijuana is a drug that you shouldn't use. And they've never heard how it's benefited me, how it's helped other people, and they've not heard the stories of people in jail. And mostly I got involved because of the criminal justice sides of things. In Athens, you're 4.7 times more likely to be arrested if you're black than white for marijuana. And black and white people use marijuana at the same rate. And we see that it's a good way to put people in jail who we don't find desirable in society. And so we're working to fight against that.
So, why do you think marijuana is illegal?
I think because when Nixon was president and he implemented some era-based politics, and I think it's strictly discriminatory based against minorities in the United States as a way to get them in jail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Statistics show that Black and Mexican Americans are disproportionately targeted by law enforcement for drug-related offenses. But the irony is that in most cases, white people are using weed way more than Black or Mexican people in America.
Not only that, but research has shown that marijuana isn't nearly as dangerous as other controlled substances, including alcohol, which is legal.
The government has tried to make it seem like that's not true, but statistics don't lie. The CDC says that over 30,000 deaths are related to alcohol and alcohol poisoning every year, whereas they have no evidence of anybody ever dying from marijuana.
Adding to that, I don't know if you guys remember middle school health class, but I was told in there that if I started smoking marijuana, it would lead to me experimenting with harder and more dangerous drugs, such as cocaine, meth, or heroin.
However, according to the National Institution on Drug Abuse, the majority of people who use marijuana do not go on to use more extreme substances.
Do you think that marijuana should be legal?
No, I don't.
Okay, and why is that?
I guess I've just always seen it as a gateway drug, and I just feel that there needs to be some type of punishment for it.
There's an argument to be made for it being a slightly dangerous drug when we look at the factor of cross-sensitization. We are heightened behavioral responses to normal situations, but this also occurs with more commonly used and abused legal substances of alcohol and nicotine.
Yeah, it's crazy how alcohol and nicotine are legal, but we've criminalized something that doesn't result in death, cancer, or addiction.
An estimated 88,000 people die from alcohol-related causes annually. Almost 10,000 people alone are killed from drunk driving accidents per year.
Smoking accounts for 80% of lung cancer deaths and is associated with at least 15 other types of cancer.
Yet weed does not cause cancer, and it certainly does not result in death. The only cases in which it has proven fatal are when marijuana is laced with something else.
But if it was legalized, there would be no danger of people smoking laced weed because it would be a government-controlled substance.
Let's face it, if it were legalized, it could be a lot safer for everyone.
What are things that individuals can do, like on their own, to help get marijuana legalized?
So getting involved in local politics and really understanding what you can do to make a difference, that's kind of what Athens Care is teaching people. We're going to City Hall. We just had Melissa Link, a commissioner, come speak to us and tell us to partner with the Immigration Coalition, with Anti-Discriminatory Coalition, and getting involved in the political process, understanding that when you contact your representative, it does make a difference. And when you vote in a local election, like the one that's going to be coming up in 2018 in Athens, what she just told us is get the mayors to put a position. You know, people who are running, do you support decriminalization, and make them be held accountable to that. So the best way to get involved is to get involved in the political process at this point in time in the United States.
Okay, I want to talk to a different audience now, lawmakers. Many of you have said that legalizing marijuana would hurt the economy, and I get that. Any money going towards weed isn't going towards other nice substances like tobacco or alcohol. But imagine how much money the government could make if you taxed marijuana just like you tax cigarettes.
Yeah, just look at the economies of some of the states that have legalized marijuana. Before they legalized it, over 80% of all arrests in Colorado were for marijuana. After it was legalized, they had a 41% decrease in drug arrests and gained over $40 million in marijuana taxes in less than a year.
Imagine how much money the government could make if marijuana was taxed the same way as tobacco throughout the entire country.
Also, by legalizing marijuana, we can work with the government in an effort to regulate and make it safe for consumers.
Consumers will be more informed about what they are buying and won't have to worry about who they need to buy it from. We want to require proper labeling about the quantities of key ingredients like THC and CBD, similar to how alcohol manufacturers label their products.
Marijuana would join the fight to steer minors away from these substances by making them the same purchase age as alcohol, as well as limiting advertising, sales, and public consumptions. Being founded with marijuana underage would suffer the same penalties similar to an MIP, which is minor in possession. The same punishment goes with being an adult and supplying to a minor.
And going off of that, over 54% of all drug-related arrests in the US are people with small, personal amounts of marijuana. 54%! How many prisons could be cleared if we no longer arrested every person with half an ounce of marijuana?
America spends billions of dollars on prisons and has one of the highest rates of incarceration in the world. Not only would we save a bunch of money, but we would also have less harmless people in prison.
It's really a win-win. Save money and save space for people with real violent offenders.
Look at all of these ways that marijuana could help us. We could tax it to make money, stop arresting people to save money and space in prisons, and still control how it can be made and used.
So it's not like marijuana would just suddenly be everywhere with no checks on it. We're willing to work with legislators as long as they're willing to work with us to come up with safety protocols and rules.
Interested.
Could you describe someone that uses marijuana in a few words?
Just kind of honestly lazy. I know that's not everybody, but the people I know they don't really care that much about school. But those could just be that person's personality. So
sure.
I don't know. I don't want to make anybody mad.
No,
okay.
You're fine. You're fine. That's
okay.
perfect. Could you describe someone who uses marijuana in a couple words?
A couple of words. Well, unmotivated, lazy.
The truth is, all of these stereotypes people have about people who smoke weed are just that, stereotypes.
Some of the most successful and intelligent people in America have used marijuana. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Barack Obama.
You can go back even further than that. Some of the greatest minds throughout history enjoyed pot every now and then. People like Shakespeare, JFK, Joan of Arc, Queen Victoria.
Some of our founding fathers even smoked weed, like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe, just to name a few. If they could smoke hemp and still manage to build an entire nation from the ground up, I'm pretty sure calling people who smoke pot lazy is just a stereotype.
Could you describe someone who uses marijuana in a couple words?
Yes, calm, relaxed, intelligent, and informed.
All right. Could you describe someone who uses marijuana in a few words?
Just like me and you. They just happen to smoke a little pot.
Exactly. Americans have been trained to think of pot smokers as lazy and unproductive since the war on drugs started. But the truth is that just like any other substance, it's fine in moderation. It can be helpful and make people even more productive in the long run.
Based on the elections of the past year, people are starting to realize that pot smokers are going from lazy and unproductive to normal and creatively productive.
And as these labels start to fall away, we'll be able to reach more people.
And as we've shown you, weed really isn't that bad or anything to be scared of. It presents a great opportunity for America to stop losing money and start making more of it.
So, do you think that marijuana should be legal?
I don't think so.
Why is that?
Because I'm against popular things.
Okay, so if it was legal, recreational use was legal, do you think it would impact your life?
Probably not. I mean, it basically is legal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see really.
So if you could describe someone that uses marijuana in a couple words, how would you describe that?
I'd say lit, you know, reliable, maybe hungry sometimes. I mean, okay, people.
All right.
Yeah.
Preview.